Welcome, welcome. Welcome, family, to a new edition or another edition of T-Limbs Presents The Bridge. Today is an exciting day because we got a new format that's coming to you from our very own cast. I want to send out a shout out to everybody. Happy Resurrection Day. You know, of course, y'all know, as I said before, you know, it's about the lamb. It ain't about the bunny. So again, you know, so enjoy your day. We're excited here today.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say hello to Francis out there. Hey, Francis, wherever you at, man. You know, this is for you. Of course, you know, what's your name? Okay. We're going to skip by her. No, y'all know her. This is our, you know, something. She's our Inspector Gadget. She's our, what did I call her? MacGyver before? Okay, MacGyver. Who's a good investigative person? Perry Mason?
Inspector Clouseau.
Okay, Inspector Clouseau. Y'all know Twilight?
Hey.
Hey, Teresa.
Hey,
how you doing?
Going,
JD, would it be? And look, he got his sidekick with him. Siobhan,
yeah,
Miss Davis,
yay,
and then his I shouldn't say that, should I?
No.
Okay, but anyway, we got an exciting show for you guys today. Like I said, we're kicking off a brand new thing, and I like to say that is my little brothers and Siobhan's thing that we're going to be doing, and it's for you, so you can get your voices out there, and so give you guys a platform, man, to let you. We're trying to let y'all know that we listen to you, we hear you. We want you to be a part of this, because again, it's for you, and some of y'all old heads too. Okay, it's for y'all too. Anyway, we want y'all to be a part of this. Put your brick into the foundation. I ain't forgot about you, Ron and Reg, the two gurus that make this thing happen. So now, without further ado, I'm going to give it over to this young man, this dynamic young man. He's going to start this new program off in prayer. And you know something, we need prayer in everything, because you know we can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens us. So without further ado,
Hassan.
Make move.
Come on, man.
Okay. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord,
for everything you do for us, and you love us and you praise, and we give you all the glory that you have, dear God, and thanks for everything that being us here and let us be here, dear God, and let us be safe on the road and everything that you do, dear God, and thanks for everything, and for Nipsey Hussle, for everything, and for what you do in his life, and thank God for everything that we're just blessed to be here, and for everything that you do, and thanks for everything for letting us come here to worship you, dear God, on your resurrection day. And thank you, Jesus, for everything, and we love you, we serve you, and thanks for everything for letting us come here today and to do your resurrection, dear God. And thanks for everything. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right.
Okay, hey, right quick.
Yeah.
You have anything you want to add before we send these guys off? They look eager and ready.
No.
They look at them, man.
No, I want to get into it because I know what I'm thinking, but I want to hear what you all got to say because I want to check it out. So you got it.
Well, Teresa,
I'm ready.
No, we're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay.
We're ready to roll.
Okay. I give it to you, JD.
Good afternoon, good folks. We're here, obviously, to discuss a few things. Obviously, Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle's murder, I'm sorry.
Hold up. Let me cut you off. What is the name of y'all group? Thank you very much.
I'm so sorry because this is a new show. This is Abstrakt Xcilence, folks. Abstrakt Xcilence. So welcome to Abstrakt Xcilence. Ms. Davis and myself will have this every third Sunday of the month until we won't. So make sure you tune in and check us out. As I said, we're going to get right into it. Introductions briefly from left to right. Just a little bit about yourself, who you are.
How you doing? My name is Anthony. And I was asked to be here by JD to talk about Nipsey Hussle's murder. So.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Donald Stevenson. Community influencer, community advocate, youth development representative. Here to shed a little light on community engagement, also how it relates to the work that my brother Nipsey Hussle did. in this community in Los Angeles, California.
All right.
Very well put, brother.
And I'm Sean Davis. I'm Siobhan Davis' husband.
All right.
Yeah, I'm her husband. I'm also a great friend of Donald's right here. And I come to speak on the Nipsey Hussle situation and things that could make differences in the community.
Wonderful.
Okay, we welcome you guys. I'm glad I'm glad to see you guys involved, because this is what Nipsey wanted us to be, involved. You know, our views.
So from that aspect, to jump right in it, I think the first thing we need to cover is truth, right?
Yeah.
Let's deal with truth. So for me, I knew a lot about what Nip was doing in the community early on, but I wasn't super familiar with his music, which that's complete honesty. But you have a lot of people that are on different sides. Like I said, the day after it happened, it was a time where we should be uniting rather than separating. And we had half on this side of, well, now all you people all of a sudden are friends because he's dead, and the other half like, oh, I've been on this since XYZ. But at the end of the day, like, man, the man's life was not about either. It was about the purpose, the motion. So all this extra nonsense, so we can kind of put that to the side and unite for a second just to get the conversation going in the right direction. What was the point of his life? What was the purpose? Where was he going with this? The marathon is just not a catchy theme or catchphrase. It's a way of life. It's a point of view. So when you think of it in that magnitude, I think we need to really focus in on that and not so much, okay, who's the next Nipsey, or look at me, I'm doing X, Y, Z, but maybe if we can come together and understand what it was all about in the first place in terms of unity and unifying and stopping the nonsense and ceasing the violence. With that said,
I definitely agree with you on that. I definitely feel the same way to a certain extent. You know, me and you have had this conversation. I guess my take on things is, you know, giving people their flowers while they're here. You know, the recognition that, you know, went unnoticed pretty much until his untimely death. So I guess that's just more so my standpoint and the things he was doing. And I would say more than likely the LA area and the Slauson and Crenshaw area knew very much of the things he was doing and the impact that he had, but, you know, on a bigger and larger scale of the fact that it had to take his demise for a lot of people to really know exactly what he was doing and the efforts and the things he was doing. So the marathon, I definitely wanted to be something that is not moment and monumental, you know, and that was my part. Will it be just for a moment and it's because it's catchy and it's trending right now, or will it be something far as a change that we all wish to see? So that was just sort of my take on things.
What I noticed is that I was with a young lady a couple weeks ago. She's probably you all's age, and what she said to me, what she said with Nipsey is our Tupac. And I was talking to her about that because I was relating. I said, I remember where I was when Tupac got shot, and you know how it just hit me because the direction that he was moving in, but got stopped right in the middle. So speak to that.
I was going to say, I think we get caught up on celebrity influence, and I think my point I just kind of said this to Donald outside, like this is about having a platform to shine a light on each individual being accountable for self daily. Like, you don't have to be a celebrity to open a door for somebody coming behind you. You don't have to be a celebrity to let somebody over in traffic. You don't have to be a celebrity necessarily to respect yourself as a young adult and not curse with your friends when you see a 70-year-old woman sitting beside you. Like, these are simple things that build to the bigger things, which is the point for which I was getting at with starting it with Nip, but making a bigger point to accountability. And I wanted to kind of touch on my brother over here who does a lot of work, who it moves in silence, so to speak. So it's not about celebrity, it's about the point and the purpose. And I'm not
say
trying
that
to put you
again?
on the spot.
No, it's no problem. I was
No,
just
say that again. You just said.
Yes, it's not about the celebrity.
No. Before that, you said it moves.
Oh, he moves in silence. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
and
powerful.
she and I had this conversation about some people that we know personally that are doing major things, but it's not about anybody recognizing that. It's about them doing what they do and getting it done. And like I said, my brother over here, I'm glad he made it, because she just made a point of giving your flowers. Like, he's come from some things, man, gone through some things, and it's turned it around to make it something else for other people. And that's what this is about in terms of platform, but this is what it's all about when we talk about the marathon continuum. Like, he was doing it before Nip left, and he's been doing it. And we're not talking about, Nip in that sense. We're talking about Donald.
Right.
In comparison to the sense of the work, the actions and not the words, not the opinions. So I don't want to.
So, one, let me first humbly say that to be placed in comparison with a brother such as, we know him as Nipsey Hussle, but his name is
Ermias Ashkadon.
Ermias Ashkadon, and we don't want to take away from the power in his name either. But if I could take us back just a couple seconds, couple minutes ago, right, to the original statement that brought us to this point, we can't negate what the young lady said. She said Nipsey is like your Tupac to our generation. So coming from a generation where I would say I am part of that Tupac generation. Tupac was the new young emerging voice for our culture and for our experience. But then at the same time, he had certain songs that also made you reflect back on, more serious moments too, like Brenda's Got a Baby, Dear Mama. So if it wasn't for some of the songs that Tupac brought forth to us, a lot of information we wouldn't have came across by anyone else. He gave us information on the Black Panther Party. We knew about political prisoners such as Mumia Abu-Jamal. We knew about, we were introduced to the story of Assata Shakur through Tupac Shakur. So for her to make that reference and say Nip was like your Tupac to our generation, that's big.
Heavy. Right. Yeah.
And, I was explaining to somebody the other day, the sad thing about the untimely demise of Tupac is that he never reached true fruition of his vision.
Right.
So he put in his music what his dream and what his vision was, right? But then when you reflect on the works that Nipsey did in his community, he actually did what Tupac dreamt about.
Right.
And then there's a quote, not to cut you off, I'm going to finish. There's a quote from Pac back in the day. It was during an interview, and he made a statement that if he couldn't be the mind that inspires the world,
he would want to
inspire the mind that does change the world.
Exactly.
Repeat that quote.
If he couldn't be the mind that inspired the world, he would want to be
a spark.
If he could be
the mind that helped
be
inspire
the
the
spark.
world. Exactly.
So it's that's that we can't move away from her referencing that. And I think Nip for this culture particular shows how one can still be grounded in the neighborhood in which he left and still stay there, but still transform it from the inside out. See, Nip was gentrifying his own community.
Okay, now
right.
You know what I mean? We talk about gentrification across in urban America across all major cities, especially right here, not too far from the District of Columbia, who we seen the most intensified display of gentrification, other than in any other city in the United States.
I agree.
The entire city is gentrified.
I agree.
Other places you have sections, right? So when we talk about that, and Nip was gentrifying his own community. He was buying real estate, he was buying commercial properties. He was making sound investments that would generate more money for him to pour into his community. In 1 year, he poured almost $2.1 million back into his community. Assisted over 4,000 residents in that community. That's big for one man.
For one man.
And when you think about it, when you look at his whole slogan, the marathon continues, right? Or all money in, no money out.
Exactly.
Right.
His goal is to generate money and keep it in his community instead of pushing it out of his community. He had a special release called Proud to Pay, on which he charged $100 per CD.
Yep.
And the next round went through $1,000 per CD.
Sold out.
And sold out. not everybody understood his vision. You know, we had some other celebrities that understood what was going on right away, and you know,
Like Jay-Z?
like Jay-Z, Pharrell Williams,
Yeah.
you know, supported the brother immediately because they understood, they saw his vision, right? But
And they
with
knew
him
they
doing
couldn't
that,
do what he was doing.
right? And
But they weren't haters either.
No,
They-
no,
they-
yeah,
that's what I'm saying, but
I
they
don't
supported.
think they couldn't do. I think Jay-Z, they're too far in their
Yeah,
career.
exactly.
They
I'll
probably
take that
looked
back.
at that
Right.
move and said, "I wish I would have did that."
Okay.
Exactly.
Because what he did was from proceeds from those 2 projects, that's what he used as the seed money to open the store, to establish his record label, and he did so without loans from any financial institution.
That's amazing.
Let me ask y'all this, and those same references as far as how they were.
Before you get me, because I don't want to lose my thought. Now you want to cut him
Go
off
for
when we
it.
get to it. So she and I had this conversation earlier this week in reference to some things that was going on in the city and what we can do, right? He just made a very strong, heavy point in reference to investments, buying back, gentrifying his own neighborhood by buying it back, right? There are a lot of things that we do with our money. We are the biggest consumers amongst.
Yes.
It,
Yes.
And innovators.
there's a way, and I'm not saying because I enjoy finding things, dressed in certain ways, but there's a way. At some point in time, you have to grow up and figure out, you know what, maybe I got to struggle a little bit to advance. So like he said, with the seed money he made from his album, he didn't take in, I'm about to go kill it. We
Right.
about to ball out, we gonna pop. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna flip that, and I'm probably gonna flip this, and then I'm gonna flip that. In the meantime, I'm gonna live here, and I'm gonna stay humble, so to speak, until it's my time. And if you listen to his music, in his music, he's basically telling you that I paid my dues, I waited my time. Like, understand what we're saying here. So a lot of people don't want to go through the struggle. They want the shine without the struggle. So if we want to make a change, we got to kind of start doing these things, focusing on credit scores, saving our money, going to workshops at credit unions. Like, take the time to do the things that we need to do to figure out how. Because we weren't taught these things. So understand, I'm not saying that I know these things, but I'm learning them now.
Let me ask you all a question. Anyone can jump in and answer the question. He just said something about the struggle. And see, Nipsey Hussle's name was Hustle. And some people think that's a disrespectful. I'm speaking of people like in their 50s and 60s, people that I've talked to, grown folks who don't have a clue, and I'm saying it because they don't have a clue, that why would he call himself Hustle? I said, but you don't understand the name, the word hustle, to me has a positive resonance because it means like you're really on your grind, getting it down, getting it handled. So you were talking about a struggle. Would you say that the struggles that you all have ever incurred in life were worth where you are today? The things that you've gone through, the struggle, the personal struggles that you've incurred, were worth where going through to get to where you are today?
Who you are today.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it makes me who I am today. I could be a totally different person today, but I've been through some stuff. I came out of it on top. I feel like I'm on top. I'm on top.
Say that again for our young people that
I'm
listen.
on top.
He's on top. I like that. He's on top.
Yeah, I'm on top. I came from some stuff.
Through your learning processes.
Yeah,
So to speak.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And we all had those growing pains. You know what I mean? If you've never been through nothing, you know what I mean? How can you relay that your experience to somebody else that's going through without having to go through yourself?
Your
what I want
eyes.
to-
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think the things you go through make you stronger as a person. And when you see somebody else coming up, going through the same thing that you already went through,
Right.
you're able to reach out and help them so they don't make the same mistakes that you did.
Right. On that note, I want to jump on what Donald does. You know something now? I want to say that, you know something, raising your family, you don't get no kudos for that. You're supposed to. You get kudos for going out into the community and doing things for the community. Like your kids, friends, or whatever the case, you know, if he's going to hang out with my son or my daughter, you know something, I'm going to take you under my wing to make sure that, you know, when you come to my house, you act accordingly. And so even when you're not at home, if you're with my son, you take those teachings out. So so we got to reach back and grasp everybody, all of us. Now, what I wanted to allude to is when you guys were.
Thank you. I was killing. It was killing me. It's killing me.
Okay. Anyway, no, I want to ask this question, but first, like Steve Harvey, y'all heard him say when he got into the little tiff with Monique, it's about money.
Oh, yeah.
No, it ain't about money. Now, don't get me wrong. Steve is doing some programs that's giving back to the community, but you know something? You have that celebrity status, whereas you could touch more and do more. Like you said, maybe Jay-Z wish he could have did it a little sooner, and he admired Nip for what he was doing. But even still, it's never too late to contribute. But
I
you know something? You can't sell your soul.
This the thing, I think a lot of people have a number, and if you have a number, that's already a problem.
Exactly.
So we all are going to take different paths, right?
Right.
Every single one of us sitting right here has gotten to this point from far drastically different experiences.
Right.
If I take my experience and try to put it in her experience and succeed in my life through her experiences, I'm probably not going to get there. I spent a long period of time with some things growing up from where I came from, XYZ, but trying to figure out my way based on where I was from, not who I was. And you don't rectify with that coming from the inner city anyway, because you are where you're from. But when you kind of come into yourself as a man and you realize some things weren't right, some things are, so you're struggling with things then at that point. And that's where the comparison comes in. Well, this person's doing that, I should be doing that too. Mm-hmm. And to kind of bring that back to the Nipsey point, like I think that's what I was saying at the beginning of the show, where the divide comes in. We split on it after he was murdered, because you had one side of people like, well, you don't know, he was already, you know what I'm saying, you ain't even gone through what we lived through XYZ, but that don't mean that because you lived through this and I lived through this, that we both can't make a difference in our lives in one way or another. Be accountable. Do what you need to do with your life, and let me do what I need to do with my life. But we can still agree to disagree and connect in the end and make it work.
I agree with you there, and everything you said. Now, I'm an out-of-the-box thinker. I bebop to a different beat than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you bebop like that, I bebop another way. But if we're going in the same direction, it doesn't matter how we get to the game. If you go by bus, walk, train, or whatever, as long as we get to the game, and that's our purpose, and that's our point, to get to the game, or to get to this point, to make a change in our communities, in our neighborhoods, man. So it don't matter just because, okay, your hat backwards, mine's frontward. I like Pittsburgh. You like Washington, anyway, or Dallas. But anyway, I mean, so it doesn't matter. As long as we have the same purpose and we're moving in the same direction, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how we get there.
So to hop into that, which is say, like, not to keep just talking, like, man, listen, talk about some of the things you do, brother. Like, let them know who you are.
Please.
Well, me, honestly, I just play my part, right? I tell people all the time, some might disagree with me, but I'm not a firm believer in the whole saying that in order to be a good leader, you have to first learn how to follow. I'm not into that. I think whoever came up with that, was focusing on one person, and that whole saying kept a group of people content with following. So I tell people all the time, I will follow no man, but I stand beside a good one any day.
I like
so, when people come about and they have a project they working on, or, they doing something in the community, if I feel like your intent is aligned with where it should be and you doing it for the right reason, then I give you all the support in the world that I can bring to the table. I empty my resource bank out. So I've been involved in a lot of, projects, major projects around the city, just as, being one that's at the table to bring forth, new ideas.
Right.
But I just call it doing my part. I come from a low-income community, notorious community in Washington, D.C. called Central Quarters, which is now demolished. But my family was one of the first families to move into Central Quarters in 1963, and also played an intricate part in them becoming homeowners on that property and turning it into a co-op. So I think community activism and civic engagement is just in me from the core. And it's just in me to just be one of those frontline people. So that's what I do. But, you know, Brother Jermaine was talking about the gap. When the news came out about Brother Nipsey, the gap that it formed, some people saying, well, I ain't know him, so I can't jump on the bandwagon now. But I think as time grew on over the week leading up to his funeral services, as more information started to pour in, as people became more informed, that gap closed tremendously, right? So here's the thing. One thing about life is that the only promise in it, the only thing that's for sure, that's certain, is you're going to die.
Yeah.
Right? When you're going to die, we don't know.
Okay.
Right? We have no control over families, circumstances, neighborhoods that we're born into.
None whatsoever.
Right? If we got any card players, my grandmother, she used to use this. She's an avid gambler. All of her life lessons stemmed around some gambling, right?
Okay.
So growing up, we had a pretty, you know what I'm saying, tough childhood growing up. And oftentimes as kids, we would complain because we knew that there was a difference between the way I lived, the way I grew up, and the way my man grows up. And we used to ask questions. And she would always say, well, you know, life is like a game of, is like a spades, right? Oh. You got to deal the whole deck out. But you can't control what hand you get, right? But you got to keep that stern poker face, and you got to say, okay, I got this many for sure possibilities. I got this many for sure guaranteed options, and I got some possibilities here, right? But you got to play that hand out strategically as possible. Sometimes you got a partner, you might be playing single man space. You got to play it out, right, to get the best outcome. That's how life is. You don't choose the cards you dealt, but you got to play it out, right? So understand that, you know what I'm saying, we don't choose these things we born into. We don't, only thing we responsible for is that dash, that in between, right? And the work that we do. And that dash is your legacy. That's what's going to live on forever.
Heavy word.
So, and as we moved on towards the brother's funeral, more and more information got to pouring in. More people became informed about this young man's legacy, right? And what his legacy did, it inspired. And one of Nipsey quotes is that, one of his famous quotes, in fact, is written across the basketball mural that they just did for him in California. It says, the highest human act is to inspire. A lot of people don't know the power and inspiration, right? And coming from a community like the Crenshaw District, many other urban communities around the United States that's robbed from a lot of resources and left to pretty much fend for themselves, right? The biggest thing that can come into that community is a source of inspiration, because what you do is you give power to the next person younger than you that's growing through it, and you give them, now you give them a playing field, you give them a new platform to want to you know, reach, right? And that's what Nip did. And as more and more information came, you know, that platform extended to the world.
Which is what Tupac did before him, for the record.
Do you think, let's say, with that concept, and there is a difference between, let's say, my age group, you guys' age group, and then that next age group. Do you think this kind of like closed that gap somewhat?
I think
the group before us had all the knowledge and they had resources, but they sat on it.
You know what? I think,
you know what I mean?
I think what it did is it re-sparked the flame in my generation, right? As a reminder, okay, boom, this is, you know what I'm saying, this brother was 33 years old, right? And this is the mindset that he had, you know, that he was at 33.
Right.
So what it did, it upped the playing field. Like, okay, even for a guy like me who, you know, some people will sit around and say, well, oh, that's a good guy, he does this and he does that. Nip's passing even forced me to reflect on, damn, what am I doing?
Wow.
Right.
Not just as a person in the
Wow.
community,
Yeah.
but as
That's
a
good.
person,
Yeah.
as a husband,
That's good.
right? As a father,
That's good.
you know, just being that community and as a community influencer, right? So it just upped the game. It just made me realize, like, okay, I got to step it up. You know what I'm saying? Not step it up as though,
So
like,
look,
I
so look, not to cut you off, brother.
That's
I can
good.
see.
Because I want to say something
Yeah.
too. Because it's crazy you said that. Because I was just on the phone with my nephew last night, and he was telling me about how he was like, "Unc, you've been telling me about him for a long time, man. And I ain't really listened." And he was talking about how, Nip passed, and he been reading up on him, listening to his music and everything. And he said he did all that at 33, and he said, I just turned 30. It make me realize that I'm out here playing. I can do a lot better. So I'm a fan. I'm a flat out. I've been a fan. I've been trying to tell everybody about this man everything.
Yep.
And for him to say that, it made me feel like I did something. Like I've been trying to put you on to something, but he get it now. He gets it,
Right.
and that made me feel. That made
So
me
tell
feel
us
good.
why you are a fan of Nipsey's.
I listen. I listen to him. Everything he say, he do it. I'm one of them people. When I'm a fan, I watch every interview. I hold on to everything you say. I pay attention. I look at your background. I even look at the friends he came up with that's still with him. If you pay attention to his interviews, everything he talk about, he includes his team.
Wow.
He even turned down a deal, a lucrative deal, because his team wouldn't get the recognition, and he turned that down. Like something just got me. He was a solid guy, real solid.
You know what? When you say that reminded me of too, and I was thinking about, I've been watching him for a long time because he's into investing in cryptocurrency like that, and I'm in that stock market stuff. So the group of black investors in America is really a small group when you start looking around. You kind of know who's doing what. You know who the major players are, and you know some of the minor players too. So he was young, but he understood it, and what he did was he did like a lot of young men. You have a product, you figure out who's going to buy this product, you figure out how to market the product. So that's what he did. He took and analyzed, I can use this to get this. He was really intense. So he always would talk on to small business groups. So that's what my introduction was to him. Like you said, I didn't hear a lot of his music, and then when I listened to him through the business group, then I started listening to what he was saying. Because, see, I was a Tupac fan, still a Tupac fan. I'm going to die a Tupac fan. And Andre 3000, those are my guys. And I don't apologize for any of that, period, okay? But what I was thinking about was the same thing was LeBron James. See, we know him. We're from Akron. LeBron still has the same crew that he grew up with. He didn't leave them out. He included them. He brought everything together. He goes back to the same community that he came from. He gives out, extend the community. He gives out to, Frankie was a coach of his, Brucey was a coach of his. You know he made them both millionaires.
I'm about to put y'all on the spot real quick.
Millionaires.
Listen, I love LeBron, and you know that, I'll tell you that. But see, this is my thing again. Yes, LeBron is still a celebrity, though. Like, you have people, and again, I'm going to do what I did with Donald.
We can't hear you, honey.
I said I did it with Donald, I'm going to do it with them. Like, you have people that are everyday heroes. Like,
I'm not disputing you.
No, I know.
I was just agreeing with him to understand.
I'm
about
transitioning with him into the point of where we're going. We had Siobhan on the show, Autism Awareness Month, so we know about their son, and they do what they do for their son. But forget that for a second. Like they've taken that and turned it into a platform to support, uplift, and empower and educate other people.
Right.
And not just other people, but other people with children with autism, or other people, period, just in general, on just being better people. Because she's heavy on this, like, just certain things, the R word, which I won't even say it.
Right.
Because and that's just little things. But these are like real life heroes here. You're talking like they could legit be in their own space of anger or frustration, but instead they took that.
The things that you guys do, in your own way, like you said, JD, it makes y'all heroes. You know what I mean? And you give other folks options, man.
Let me finish with my point I was trying to
Yeah,
extend
yeah,
here.
go ahead, I'm
Okay. Because what I wanted to say was that yeah, LeBron did this and he did those things too. But what I like is that he says everyone has that same thing in them. And that he's just a kid from Akron. He'll tell you that in New York Minute. He says that to everyone. Everyone got the same thing. Take the opportunities that you see and create opportunities from that which you don't see. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying, that I could see by looking at you all sitting here, that you all have taken and created opportunities in places that you didn't see it. You have a young son, you all have a son. And I taught children that were autistic and have Asperger's syndrome. Mm-hmm. And I understand autism is a spectrum that goes all the way across here. People think it's just one thing, but it's this, and it's this, and it's this. It's texture, it's the olfactory, it's the taste, it's the touch, it's the sound. It's a bunch of things. And how I know the medical professionals diss parents, especially black parents. So the fact that you all created something from something that you didn't see, you created opportunity from something you didn't see.
For other people, not just for themselves.
Right, but I'm saying, that's what I mean. So, and then you, Donald, you're from a community that you saw the grind, you saw what was going on. You too. And then you're a silent giant. Real silent. See, you're low key, but you can be right there on the top and over to the edge. If I'm wrong, correct me. Okay. Yeah. But when he gets up over, people hear him and they hear him loud and clear because he won't back down, and they know he's right. All right.
I will hope so.
No, you know so. You know so, and I see it in your eyes. Mm-hmm. This one here, he's reserved because he's a meditator, because he meditates before he comes out. But when he comes out, it comes out in fullness. And I'm so pleased to be able to be in the studio with you all today, because you all have certain different giftedness that a blind man, and I'm not saying that because I'm trying to be funny, but someone could see quite clearly. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back on opposite end, and then you all can talk about the inspirations that you all reached for, or that you pulled something about, and what we can learn from that, what young people can learn from that. Right back. Don't.
Everyone has a story to tell, and I know you do too. But you don't know where or how to start? Imagination Press will help you. Write, edit, and publish your book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Lulu.com, Ingram, as well as helping you reach markets across the globe. Call us today on 301-379-2709 for a free one-on-one consultation, or visit our website and send us an email, imaginationpressonline.com. Again, that's imaginationpressonline.com. Imagination Press is your complete guide to publishing, branding, and promotions. Give us a call today. We're back here at the bridge, Connect to the Bridge, and I have just one quick last question, actually, for me, for the cast, and that is, as we see young people growing up today, we're appreciative of the life that Nipsey led, and it reminds me of Christ when he was wasn't he 33? When he passed away. And I think one of you said that all we know of and can control of a little bit is that dash, because we're all going to die. But my biggest question is, what can we do now that you guys are older? I'm always looking to reach the youth. Mm-hmm. What is the one single thing that you think we as adults now can do to give back and help steer the youth on the right path? So I'm going to start with Mr. Anthony over here.
Well, I think the biggest thing y'all could do is get more into social media, because that's where all of us is at right now. That's the biggest platform we have. Good. People don't realize it yet until they actually see the movement they actually make. So social media is the biggest one. And the next one I'll probably say is actually one-on-one communication.
Okay.
That one-on-one interaction and get deep into the background of them, actually know where their past and their story is coming from. Because without the story, how you gonna write the movie?
Right. Oh, that's very good. Well said.
And so those two things are probably the biggest things. I'll probably say is the best to reach out to young people more around my age and now.
Okay, that's good, Anthony. Thank you.
Very good.
I could relate to it because I would say, you know, we all come from like a neighborhood like Nip. So to reach the young people, if they doing it the wrong way, like we could just let them know like it's another way to do this. Like you don't gotta do it this way. So
when you say there's another way,
like instead of the wrong way, because like, you know, when Nip started out, he started out the wrong way, but he looked and saying like, oh, I gotta do this different. So like I did the same thing. I was doing it the wrong way, so I stepped back. It was like I need to do something different.
You know, we as older people, we got to lead by example, and in a sense, I apologize. In a sense, for my age group, we never got the chance to take the baton, and so we kind of sat back, and y'all cats was watching us.
Yeah.
He's watching y'all. You dig what I'm saying? And you know, everybody is. You know what I mean?
And I think it was all about like the environment you was in. Like you had to adapt to survive.
Yeah,
that's real.
So true.
Right. So if you didn't adapt, you wasn't gonna survive, and that made us, you know, go about it the wrong way.
Yes.
So by surviving, we had to adapt to our environments, and you know, we got it right because we, you know, took that left turn, but then we got
Some of us
took that left turn, and then we got on the right track by taking the right turn. But it's a lot of us that, you know, we still, you know, need some reaching out to.
Yeah.
I think that's grace.
That's good.
I think that's grace. I taught a lot of young men. I had the students that people didn't want to teach. I had the young fellas that had the POs used to come in and take them out of the classroom, and I'd have to tell them, don't come to my classroom knocking on my door asking for so-and-so, and you can get an office person to come and ask them to come down to the office, and that person should be in the principal's office someplace private, so to talk to this young man so he can do his urine drop or swab his mouth, because to me that was an offense no matter what he did. Some of my young men made it out, some of them doing lifetime bids, and some of them are dead. And I reflect on that a lot, because I think back, what could I have done, or did I do everything I could have done? And my hands are clean, but the problem that you always were combating was the environment, you know, because you only can do so much. You see them but I saw my students on weekends. I used to go get them in the middle of the night, find them out in the street, messing around, say, get in the car, taking you home. What? Get in the car, and whatever you got, don't bring it in my car, and I'm taking you home, you know, and that kind of thing, you know. Or if they didn't want to drop what they had, I'd ride alongside them with my car, you know, to get them home, because I wanted them to be safe, because I knew something was getting ready to pop off, because someone else would tell me. So knowing that you're a product of your environment, what things do we as black people, that's what I'm speaking to right now, black people that are in our 50s, in our 60s, what do you need us to do that we haven't done yet to help you all better engage the community? Not take charge, not run your show. You see what I mean? But what support, what things do you all need from this generation that didn't
continue the marathon? Is what you're saying?
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
To assist in the marathon.
Just being availability, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially for the children. That's what I would say.
She has a unique point of view because of her grandmother, and we've been talking about that all week. Funny enough,
Yeah.
not to come up, but yeah, her unique point of view because of her grandmother. She can probably speak directly to that.
Well, you know, a lot of times, especially, you know, speaking on the things that you've mentioned, far as, you know, the generation, your generation, being into the social media. I definitely think all of those is very important, but at some point we have to keep a sense of tradition and things that hold our morals and values and
integrity.
Definitely integrity, because I always say, you know, we struggle with the people saying the thing about loyalty and integrity, but the thing about integrity will take you places loyalty won't, because integrity is about yourself. Loyalty 9 times out of 10 is about the other person. So, you know, speaking on what you were saying, you know, when we were growing up and the values that's being instilled, being able to carry it on and pass it on, because we can speak a lot of things, but if the youth aren't, if they're opposed to it, and your age group, and I get it, you know, you stated with the social media, if they're not on board with it, it's like a legacy, it'll stop.
Yep.
Even with my grandmother, she instilled certain things. She actually gave us everything we needed. And to this day, I do as much as I can for that reason, because of all of the things she didn't do and was taken from her. And when she started her own family, things she instilled in us, I have held that really near and dear to my heart. So a lot of things that we do in our household and things like that, a lot of times my nieces, because we have our nieces and they're young, they're your age, and they tend to say, you know, we do things old-fashioned. It's not old-fashioned, because if you change your views and your parenting, the way of life, just because times are changing or it's trendy too, we will lose everything.
That's a good
Nothing
point.
will stand.
That's a good
because
point.
Everything is moving, everything is changing. It's inevitable that things will change, but something has to stay the same. Some things have to stay the same in order for us to be able to be available for you and those things that you all need.
Consistency.
Yes. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep. So I definitely agree with you on the social media part, being more involved and trying to figure out, you know, the things you guys are into, and more so being a listening ear and not always having a rebuttal or something to say, but actually being able to hear you all.
Yes.
So, you know, that's one of the things me and Jermaine always
and
talk
if I
about.
could piggyback on the conversations we have in reference to that, when she speaks of keeping things the same, some things the same, tradition, sometimes it's just the simplest things. Communication. The youth don't understand that word completely, because their idea of communication is based in social media. So complete sentences, actual articulation, sitting down, being able to look at each other and have a conversation for longer than 5 minutes without your
Something as small as,
these
you know,
are really
these
are really simple things that have gone completely almost unnoticed and they don't have it at all, and our generation has lost it. So what's going to happen, you know? So it's the blind leading the blind, literally. So we have to get back to just simplifying things just a tad bit. It doesn't mean that we can't evolve, because if you don't evolve, you die.
Right.
So you have to evolve, but sometimes you have to simplify just to keep it going in the right direction. You know, treat people the way you want to be treated. Say hello. You don't have to frown at somebody just because you're having a bad day. Maybe if you smile and say hello, it might change your day. And even if it doesn't, it might make a difference in their day. You might inspire the mind that changes the world that day. Do your part.
Do your part. I like that.
Your part right now, because we're about to wrap this up. How can someone contact you on social media?
I'm on Instagram at 202 Lifestyle.
Instagram, 202 Lifestyle.
Instagram at D Stevenson, the photo activist.
D Stevenson with a V or a PH?
With a V.
Okay. D Stevenson, the photo activist. Instagram.
And my Instagram is awesome_Ashton_KD, and that is my Instagram. Awesome, and that's awesome AUSOME.
AUSOME, Ashton.
Yes.
Underscore.
Yep. _KD.
KD.
Yes.
Connect to the Bridge one, that's ours. So Instagram, Connect to the Bridge, but personally, Mr. JD_Wright across all media platforms. It's all the same.
And you can just catch me through Siobhan.
And you, Anthony, cameraman.
My Instagram is _Little Tony __.
Little Tony __. Okay. Oh, wonderful. Love to see you all again, and love to find out more about what you all are doing and how we can help. because we're here, honestly.
Great
and
job.
We really do. Walk the walk. On the 23rd of April at 6:30, there's going to be, it's the month of unity. There's going to be a event at Union Temple in Washington, D.C. If you all can attend, it's at 1225 W Street, Southeast D.C. Because there was a cyclone that hit 3 African nations, 3 African countries, but the United States hasn't given any money to support it yet. The Namibia ambassador is going to be there. The Mozambique ambassador is going to be there. The ambassador from Zimbabwe is going to be there. Ayanna Gregory is going to do a piece too. That's Dick Gregory's daughter. So I'm looking forward to being there. The reggae band, this was the provincial reggae band, I think, if I got the name wrong, correct me. The Mass Emphasis Children's History Theater group is going to be there. Sankofa is one of the sponsors, the Sankofa Homeschool Community, Pan-African Council of Elders, Friends of the Congo, and Appeal, which is the organization I'm attached to. So if you have an opportunity, get out here. Bring a couple dollars. Bring twos and fews. They all adds up. Walk the walk. What can you do differently tomorrow to make an impact that's positive that you didn't do today? You heard the panel. You heard the guests. What can you do? Make this time count. Until next week. And next week we have Sergeant Boone who's going to be here. Sergeant Boone is from the PG County Police Department. They have a lawsuit. The black police officers are suing the police department for discrimination. And so the Hispanic, yes. So we think that we catching on one end. Sometimes somebody else catching on opposite end too. So we look forward to seeing you all then. Until then, Ron, take us home.